Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 13th community call. It has been a crazy last few days. The macro environment, the things that are happening in the industry. Yeah, it's not helping us in any way. But if you've been in this journey with us already, as a part of a community member, as an investor, as a validator, operator, as a team member, I think this is your chance. This is your chance to kind of shine, get things done, and then for and stand for what we do, for our mission, and but more importantly for yourself, because what you do now will define what will happen to you in the next few years. So yeah, with that, let me hand it over to Ganesh and get started with this call.
Sweet, thanks, Pratik. Maybe we can reduce the volume a bit. It's a little overpowering. Thank you. Hi guys, I'm Ganesh. I'm one of the founders of Covalent. I'm here with a beautiful team, not just on our core Genesis team, but also the extended family that we have. Now, something I want to remind you is that a lot of the products that you're using today at Covalent are things that were built during the darkest and the deepest moments of the previous bear market. So as we head into Q3, it's a very uncertain kind of macroeconomic regime. And that doesn't mean that we're going to waver in our faith and waver in our motivation to build the best data products out there. And what we are going to actually share in the coming weeks is the most aggressive product roadmap and go-to-market roadmap on the token side and on the API side and other products that would come down the pipeline. So there's no change on our side. If anything, if you ask people on the front lines, it doesn't seem like a bear market has really affected the core engine of Covalent. It's actually busier now than it was earlier in Q1. So there's no immediate changes in our plans. So without much further delay, I'm going to go and ask different teammates on an update on various aspects of Covalent, and then open up the floor to a Q&A. So let's start with Niall. So what has happened? Just give us a quick update on what we've done with the staking update, parameter update, what has happened, and what's coming down the pipe next.
Yeah, so as of 8:30 Pacific this morning, we increased the one parameter on the staking contract, which is the max stake. So this is how much the operators can self-stake. And as a result of changing this, it also increases how much each operator can accept in delegations. So we increased the max stake to 350,000 CQT, so doubling it. And as of today, so about an hour and a half in, about 5 of the operators have increased their self-stake to that 350k, and immediately the space was filled. So at the moment we have a total staked amount of 35 million CQT, with about 10 million or 15 million will open up once the rest of the operators actually fill up their max stake. So with regard to what's coming down the line then, the next change is going to be getting more operators online. So I think in about 2 or 3 weeks we can expect to see about 3 more operators online. And those operators, 2 of which I'm talking with at the moment, and then we also have a pipeline of operators who are interested in running the software. And then from there, it will be continued staking parameter updates, as well as also developing the network out further. So getting phase 2 live and getting that economic model for phase 2 up and running as well. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Niall. So this 35 million that is currently staked, what percentage of the total supply is locked in?
It's going to be about 10% at the moment. That 35 is about 10%. And then once the rest gets filled up, it'll increase to about 15%.
Got it. So 35 million is 3.5% of the entire supply, which is 1 billion, and that's fixed. And the circulating supply is about 300 million. So that's where the 10% comes in. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, great update. What is going on next with the actual traction on the Covalent network?
Traction on what side with regard to the operators?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're getting more operators online in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we have 2 big names who are going to be coming on board. So you can expect to see announcements about that. And then with regard to the actual traction with who actually wants to run this, we have a pipeline fleshed out, and about 10 or 15 other major nodes in the space who run nodes for major L1s in the space who actually would want to be running the software for the Covalent network as well. And then also on top of that, they won't just be running the block specimen software and those patches, but also running the software hopefully for phase 2 as well.
Got it. And what's
Yeah.
the biggest bottleneck here? Why are we not having 100 operators and only at 12 or 13 or 15 operators right now?
It just comes down to we want to make sure these guys are being compensated correctly as well. So actually earning a proper amount of rewards. If we were just to open the floodgates, people would the rewards for how much they're getting would be diluted as well. And we want to be compensating these guys correctly for how much they're doing. And then that's probably the primary bottleneck. And yeah, I think that too. I think that's that is the primary one. But let me just think for a second. It's also software that requires a certain expertise to run too. And I think we want to make sure that the guys that we are getting to run this are people who have good experience in the space of running this type of software. So if we open the floodgates, we might see a bunch of perhaps inexperienced. Inexperienced might be a harsh word to use there, but we certainly want to make sure the quality maintains as we increase the scale of the people who are running the software. Hence why we're kind of whitelisting this process.
But the overall vision in a few years is
to
make it completely permissionless. So the market dynamics would control the thing. Fantastic. Okay, let's go on to the second topic, which is governance. So Prateek, what are the active proposals coming in? What is work in progress? Can you give us an update there?
Yeah. So as everyone knows, governance is a key piece for the existence of our token, that's CQT. It's a governance token. And a lot of people are now interested with whatever is happening right now in like, okay, Covalent is an infrastructure player. They want, and then what they want is indexing like different chains. So in the past couple of weeks, we've seen at least 2 proposals or 2 documents that have shown that they want us indexing the Optimism chain. And it's pretty big because like Optimism is one of the newest L2 chains in the market. They've recently launched token. They have their governance forum and whatnot. And then we are already in talks with them. But there will be a formal proposal going from our side in the community, and we will let everyone know about that. So I think just looking at the interest, and it's not just like people in the community are wanting us to index Optimism. It's core builders who have products who've used the Optimism chain, who have used Covalent API in the past. They want the endpoints to be live, and they want the traction so that they can get more granular access to different data points within the Optimism ecosystem. So that's one. We are already in talks with Neon Labs. Neon Labs, as you all know, is like a L2 chain on the Solana ecosystem, Solana chain. We're already in talks with them. There is an incoming proposal which they are writing. Again, this is an organic traction, exactly the way Chronos happened previously. We will be getting an incoming proposal from Neon Labs. And then we have a few other proposals that we are planning to kind of reach out to, like let's say there's Gnosis chain. It's one of the top chains that is there in the Ethereum ecosystem. Again, a scaling solution. It was known as XDAI previously, as you might know. And there's a lot of interest in terms of the ecosystem players wanting Covalent to index the Gnosis chain. So we are also kind of heading towards, let's say, writing a formal proposal, getting it out to the community, both the Covalent community and the Gnosis chain community, and all the ecosystem players that are there, and we will be doing that. So all of these proposals we have planned out. And we should be able to get them across in the next few weeks.
Got it. So the proposals that are incoming are obviously useful to the Covalent community, to the builders, the data, and it's part of the family. But what is the benefit of us doing the outreach and writing proposals and submitting proposals to other governance proposals?
Yeah, so looking at different ecosystems, right? So we're talking about Optimism. Yes, we have interest from different players who want us to index, but it's also a great, I mean, we want to send a great message to all the community members within the Optimism ecosystem that, hey, we are a key piece or data infrastructure piece within Web3, and we want Optimism to be successful as the other chains that we have helped grow in the past few months. So I think this is just like building on top of what we have already built as a core infrastructure piece, and sending out a message that we are strong. We want you to be successful, and yeah, and it's similarly, it's going to be the case with the Gnosis chain as well. And yeah, creating a good amount of buzz. So like getting everyone involved, and then following the governance ethos overall. Because I mean, gone are the days when you just like do partnerships or collaborations just for the sake of it. We want the community to be involved. We want the people to be involved as much as we are on the back end side.
Got it. Okay. So let's move on to the next topic, which is events and travel. So I'm not sure if Leilani is on this call. I think she is. And Leilani, please share what's coming down the pipe with events. Where is Covalent going to have a presence?
I'm not sure if my noise is bad because they're still doing smoke alarm testing, but can you hear the background or am I okay?
No, it's good.
Okay, cool. So we just got back a couple people from Consensus. So I think we'll share a couple more details on that probably to come, what we learned. We typically do that internally. But in the next couple of weeks, I guess next week really, we're going to do NFT NYC and ETH New York. So you can expect to see a couple teammates there as well. I'll be there, Ganesh will be there, Adam, Indy, I think that's it. But yeah, that's really exciting. So it's gonna be a pretty big June and looking forward to see yeah, what everybody's building in New York. We're sponsoring $10,000 for ETH New York. So if you're building, if you make meaningful use of the Covalent API, you can check out our booth there and some of our new code templates and stuff as well. And I think that's all for like the immediate runway for this month. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Lei. I don't know if it's going to be hot in New York, but we should get our sunscreens out. Let's go to hackathons. Harish, give us an update on what have you wrapped up recently? What's coming down the pipe?
Yeah, it's definitely been pretty busy. So I mean, yeah, regardless of what the the current market conditions are like, I know participation in hackathons and outreach and engagement is sort of core to the fabric of Covalent. So it's not something that we're intending to slow down on anytime soon. Recently wrapped up 3 large hackathons. We had Hack Money with ETH Global. We had the Clayton Covalent Unified Hackathon, and we had the Chainlink Spring Hackathon. What's been really encouraging to see is just the number and the quality of projects coming out of each of them. And we've sort of seen a steady increase, especially when you compare it to last year. So on average, we're seeing about 40 projects come out of each of these hackathons, and all of them are pretty high quality. So check out our blog post as we sort of summarize who the winners are. And have links to the project winners. Currently, we're in the midst of Gitcoin Grants round 14, and we've got the hackathon there that we're sponsoring. We're also part of the Encode Club Polygon hackathon that's wrapping up this weekend. As Leilani mentioned, we're on the ground in New York for ETH New York. And for those of you who aren't necessarily developers, there's still lots of things out there. So we're also keen to partner with Codeless Conduct. And they run a no-code hackathon. So please check that out if you're not necessarily a developer, but also keen on wanting to build in this space. And then just a last point here, our colleague Shantanu has been running these Meetup in a Box quests. and we seem to be gaining a lot of traction, a lot of interest. So, we provide the content, the tools, the marketing, some funding. So if you're interested in expanding Web3 education in your community, please reach out to us. We've got basically the full package for you, and love to see what you're able to do. I see a few folks here in the community call here who've done fantastic work, and you can sort of see with some of the pictures and other collateral that they've published, the kind of work that they've done, and they all seem to be enjoying it. So that's a quick wrap up from the DevRel side.
Amazing. Yeah, busy as usual. It's we will build bear market or bull market. Exciting stuff. All right, let's hear from Meltem. I think she's on the call too. And Covalent is actually making a trip across the world. So we are going to India and Dubai, and there's potentially events there. So Meltem, if you can share whatever is coming down the pipe.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm going to keep my camera off because my internet's a bit spotty these days. But this is really exciting. So we have a lot of team members out in India, and our core team is really based in Vancouver, or at least in Canada. So we haven't had a chance to really connect with our team in India. So in the beginning of July, Ganesh will be flying out to India, and so we'll have the core team there, just hang out and relax at a retreat. And then we'll have a side event that we'll host likely on July 8th. So if you're in India, stay tuned for those details. It's going to be mostly developers and builders in Bangalore. We'll get the venue confirmed, and it'll just be an opportunity to do a half-day kind of event, get together, fireside chat, some cool swag, and just an opportunity to connect. Then right after that, for anyone who's in Dubai, we'll do a side event with Woodstock there. So stay tuned. That will probably be July 9th.
July 8th in India, July 9th in Dubai. Back-to-back 2 big events. Okay, it's going to be fun and busy. Thank you, Meltem. Okay, so let's hear from Jackie. There's been a lot of activity on the Alchemist program. It's been mostly hush-hush because we are still in the bootstrap phase. But the growth numbers there have been pretty incredible. So Jackie, what can you share about what's coming down the pipe?
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of testing in beta phase for the Alchemist program, hence why a lot of Alchemists haven't heard too many updates, but we've lined up 3 different quests that we've been testing so far. So one of them is Global Region Games. The second one is Meetup in a Box. The third one is Hackathon in a Box. And with the Global Region Games, we've been able to test quite a few things with our regional leaders and teaching them how to do marketing, strategies, social media, and just how to collaborate and get creative in a space that's really inclusive and fun for them to test things. And it's been great to see the type of growth that they've been having in implementing different strategies or working together or collaborating with Shantanu and Meetup in a Box and really impacting their communities and really talking about different topics in Web3 or the Covalent API, and teaching people, either their families or different people who are students or on in different universities. So doing those type of things. And we'll continue to do some more testing, but we've gotten really good feedback so far, and are continuing to grow that, and we'll be sharing a lot more information. But yeah, it's been great to see things that are coming and going. So you'll be seeing a lot more in terms of like Meetup in a Box, which a lot of different member or alchemists have been trying and tweeting about and really impacting their communities. But it's awesome because we provide a lot of the educational content and support, and it's great for anybody who really wants to dive deep into Web3, different topics, people who want to look for job opportunities, which is great because we've actually had some partners reach out to some alchemists doing testing and offer them job opportunities, which has been amazing. And that's what we want to continue doing. But yeah, it's great to have the program still be on the premise of growth and development and providing those opportunities for others and really allowing them to impact what they want as an individual or their communities. But yeah, there'll be more updates out.
Thanks, Jackie. So on the theme of community updates, maybe Brandon, you can drop some alpha leak here. What is a big community program that we are going to be launching in the next couple of months? Why is this so exciting? And what's the big, if you can share? You know, I don't want to like.
I don't want to give too much away, but I think what I will tell you is, start upgrading your SQL skills and your research skills. That's all I'm going to give away. So if you're excited about on-chain analytics, start upgrading your SQL skills, and more information will be provided when it's time.
Okay, when is it time?
When it's provided, that's when it's time.
Okay.
In this quarter, definitely this quarter. So early this quarter probably is when you'll learn more. So get practicing.
Incredible. Okay, awesome. Looking forward to it. All right, let's go to Adrian next. I believe there's a unlock happening. The supply is going to increase. What is the update on the token side?
That's right. There is a small increase there, specifically 28 million CQT. We intend to distribute that on or around the 21st of June. That's next Tuesday. And overall, I think that's about 8.75% increase in the circulating supply. Interestingly, it kind of is the same number that is the increased room in the staking program too. So like what's going into the system, it's also been taken out, kind of balances out.
Awesome. Okay. Fantastic stuff. And I'm not sure if Eric can share his big lesson from consensus and permissionless. So these are two business conferences. But what is a big change we're seeing in the market, especially on the indexing side, that maybe we can share with the community?
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have a fancy background, so I'll just do this. So yeah, the big things happening, I think, are as the market shrinks, you're starting to see churn in a lot of DeFi projects and products that didn't have product market fit. What you're really starting to see, which is interesting and very different from every other bull market and bear market I've lived through in crypto, is that the fundamentals are actually here in terms of the technology. You can, I think that Axie and a lot of these GameFi chains have proven that you can build businesses, you can build engagement, you can get consumers, you can get everything. And I think a lot of the tech is actually built. It's just not as refined, and the business models aren't actually there. So despite the fact that there's a bear market, there's still real projects being built and real products coming in. And I think this app chain thesis that you're hearing, so very much like Ronin or DFK or Krabata or some of these application-based blockchains, is really starting to catch fire. And you're seeing more things start to roll out and start to percolate. So I think personally, we're in a very good position as you're seeing like real projects come to market with real builders who are not necessarily Web3 native, but they've built products, they've built businesses, they've shipped companies. So I'm more bullish on the space than I ever have been, and I have more conviction in what we're building. So it's been really exciting to see and have these conversations and be in the room and just see how data is often overlooked up until you get grownups in the room, and grownups need data in order to run their businesses, right? So it's very different from a degen crypto market when opposed to some, a company that has 200 employees and like 20 data scientists. So I think it's really exciting, and we're really looking forward to some of these things. So it's been very motivating.
Just to put the scale in context, we probably index maybe a chain every 2 weeks. So we get through probably 5 or 6 chains a quarter. we're talking about 10 chains a week. So that's the level of scale that I think will hit this time next year. And it's incredible to see, like, lots of things are just going to need to be reimagined. For example, on the API docs, you have a dropdown that lists all of your chains. And today we have about 40 chains that's on that dropdown. If you have 100 chains, you're not going to have a dropdown with 100 chains on there. You need a brand new navigation style to scale to that extent. So lots of things are going to change. One particular change that I'm really excited about is the change or the move away from chain IDs. Now, when we started out, there was Ethereum and there was Polygon, and I could remember those. Ethereum was chain ID 1, Polygon was 57, and then BSC or something else. But now you have chain ID like POM, which is like, it's like a 10-digit number, and no one really remembers those chain IDs. I think they're just it reduces usability. So we're going to move back to chain names, so you can just use Astar Sheeran or POM testnet or POM mainnet or Moonbeam Moonriver mainnet rather than chain IDs, which is very, very confusing. And we'll probably even have a second level for all the subnets. So if you have a subnet on Avalanche, there'll be a main primary chain name, and then just a fully qualified name for the chain name. So that's something that I'm also really excited about. Okay, so final message. So let's ask our chief of staff, Terry. You've lived through some very, very stressful times in your career, in your past. So for people who have lost money, people who are uncertain about the future, people who have never lived through a recession, people who have never seen an interest rate environment above 4% ever, what is the message? How do you deal with this?
Yeah, thanks, Ganesh. I think that we were answering this question internally with the team a few days ago, and the truth is, we don't always have all of the answers to these things. I was talking to the team earlier, and I kind of made the joke, but it almost wasn't a joke as well, as that, I'm not a UN ambassador. I don't work for the UN Security Council or anything. I don't know what's going to happen with the wars, what's going to happen with the macro markets, what's going to happen with any of these things. None of us do. But all we can do is just be as prepared as we can for what we can control. And I think that's the main lesson, is just take care of what you can control. If you're going to be taking risks with things, especially in the Web3 space, those risks need to be calculated. You need to try and prepare yourself as much as you can, and try not to put all of your eggs in one basket. So it sounds like a vague answer, but to be honest, we can only control what we can control. Anything outside of that, worrying is like it's like a rocking chair, right? Gives you something to do, but you don't go anywhere. So I would say the biggest lesson is control what you can control. Opportunities where they do come up, you need to be prepared for. It's you're lucky when you're prepared for an opportunity. If an opportunity comes up and you didn't prepare yourself for it, you didn't learn SQL, as Brandon suggested, if you think that's an area that may help you, if you didn't learn about particular areas within the space, if you didn't prepare yourself for when these opportunities come up, you won't be able to take advantage of them. But while these big major changes are happening in the world, just pay attention to what you can control. That's the only thing that you can do right now. And then prepare yourself as best as you can for whatever changes may come up. So it's a vague answer, but I don't have all of the answers other than control what you can control.
Thank you, Terry, for those words. I'm sure it helps. Okay, let's open up the floor to questions. We have a lot of participants today, and maybe Pratik, you want to curate the questions and ask them?
Yeah, so there are a couple of questions in the Q&A section. So everyone who's adding questions in the chat, feel free to use the Q&A box. It's easier to look at the questions there. So yeah, the first question is, why did we choose Astar Network for your future updates? I know we did an announcement, but yeah, Ganesh, you want to touch upon why?
Yeah, so we don't play favoritism, which means that all of the blockchains we work with are blockchains we really believe in the future. So Astar, the team there, Martin and Soda, we've known them for over over a year now. And, we've met them multiple times. And what really inspires me with that team is that it's a team of true builders. So Sota specifically is always talking about, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that, let's build. I think they're also going to sponsor a big Web2 data conference called Data Natives later in the summer. Incredible team to partner with. And at the end of the day, we are builders at heart. And I believe one of those guys, I think Martin actually came on to one of our governance calls, right? I think he did come to one of our governance calls. Mm-hmm. So just look back to that and you can see the passion that these teams have. And building is, I believe, the only way out of this funk. So that is why we chose to work with Astar. They have, they're a parachain on Moonbeam. So it's, a Moonbeam, a parachain on Polkadot. And so just like Moonbeam, they're an EVM chain, but they have a lot of like really innovative models called dApp staking, a lot of good stuff. So, very excited to explore that partnership further. The indexing thing is just the first step there. So hopefully that gives you some color on why specifically Astar. It comes down to the team.
Perfect. I've also shared the announcement articles for anyone who wants to kind of go through. We did a couple of them. There was also a governance proposal that we did in the Astar community. So yeah. Perfect. So there's a question about StarkNet and where are we and the developing the API for it.
So incredible question. We just spoke to the team yesterday. So we spoke to Uri and Tom, the two leads at Starkware. And when we spoke to them about 6 months prior, the environment was very immature in the sense that the Starkware engine is not an EVM chain. And you need to write in a very specialized language called Cairo. And so it's just a lot of work. If you look at our blockchains that we index, EVMs are the easiest to work with. But what they've now done is they have a transpiler that transpiles Cairo or Solidity to Cairo, so you can deploy something like Uniswap's AMM, any general purpose contract in Solidity to Cairo, and then deploy it on Starkware. And they have two major updates that are coming, which are very, very interesting. So all of the chains that are live so far on the Starkware technology, the zero knowledge technology, are StarkX. So that's what DYDX and Immutable are. And these are sovereign bespoke chains, right? They're all custom. They're all roll-ups, so you don't have access to the raw transactions. So it wasn't really a useful partnership if you don't have access to the raw transaction data. But now they're actually changing the architecture to be more like a SaaS-like software. So goes back to that app chain thing that Eric shared, where now you can go and launch a new layer 3 chain that settles on StarkNet, and you can scale. So when I said we'll be in the hundreds of chains next year, I wasn't kidding. So now what we've done is we have a standard type form for due diligence on the technical side. It's not an EVM chain, but there are some, we can always work with a chain if they're willing. So that process has just started. My belief is that the scaling technology is not going live until end of this year. So there's still time, but this is definitely in our roadmap, very tight with that team, incredible stuff that they're building. So that's the update on StarkNet.
Perfect. We'll take maybe a couple of more questions and then call it a day. Does Covalent have enough funds to survive the crypto winter? And what if there is a recession? What are your team plans to handle such a situation?
This is a great question. Now, if you look back to Covalent started as a bootstrap startup, right? We had no outside funding for the first 2.5 years before we got funding. And even when we got funding, we never went out and threw crazy boat parties and, rename stadiums and things of that nature, right? So we were still very modest with our expenditure. And so we have ample runway for years. And, we have access to other sources of capital to fund the project. We've come a long way. And I think it would be a big career mistake on my part to risk the company funds for some short-term gain. So as a result of that, we have no exposure to Luna or UST, or there's the stuff just gets crazy and crazier. I believe Celsius is now insolvent. There's still rumors of 3AC going under. We have no exposure to any of that stuff. Everything is sitting as stables, but I have to qualify stables are not stables anymore because we saw what happened with UST. So everything is, it's quite secure. So there is no immediate urgency because we never went out and spent on crazy stuff ever, right? So it's just within our ethos. And I'm not really sure, if we have, if it actually has an ROI, if we throw a big board party, but how many people would get on the boat where, first you have to sit through a middleware lecture on how, data, proof-based data verifiability, half the people will jump off the boat, to be honest. So it's a different venue, right? And we're middleware. It's not like a DeFi protocol with triple-digit APR, or it's not like an NFT drop that sells like $75 million in like 1 hour. It's none of those things. So it's more middleware, it's more mature, which is exactly what you want from middleware, right? Just stable, has no problem, just chugs along as it should. So there is no change in our roadmap or how we're going to build stuff. If there's a recession, what are your team plans to handle such a situation? Back to what Terry said, it seems like a recession is inevitable. I think the GDP itself is contracting here in North America. Some of it is part of it is just the extra cash that's in the ecosystem. Some of it is just the war stuff that's going on. Some of it is just the euphoria from COVID, where there was a lot of spending and people want to get out. I'm not sure what that is. And I've lived through the 2008 recession, so it's not a big deal. I think if it's 6 months, if it's a year, if it's a year and a half, what that means is that we'll just sit down and solidify our product. I think this is a big opportunity for us because there's not a lot of noise out there. In fact, look at the number of people on this call. During a bull market, these kinds of community calls actually has very thin attendance. Today is like, over 100 people on this call. So it's incredible to see that. And so we've grown really fast. We've grown over 10x the past year, which means there are some things that doesn't scale. So we just have to, sit down and focus on fixing our stuff, because what I love to say this, what goes down has to go up. So there will be another cycle. And so the blanket answer here is next cycle will be ready.
Awesome. Okay, we'll probably take the last question of the day. Is mainnet live with block specimens being produced? So yes, it is live, and we cannot see any block specimens being generated anywhere. Maybe you want to answer that question, Ganesh.
Sure, yeah. So this is the big staking launch that happened in May. And there's, I think, 12 operators who are creating block specimens. And as Niall said, there's going to be 3 more who are going to be onboarded in the next couple of weeks. And so these block specimens are produced, and the hash of these block specimens are uploaded to a proof chain that lives on Moonbeam. So you can go to the Moonbeam Explorer and check out the proof chain, and you can see the transactions against it. In fact, we'll have an update for you tomorrow, where this whole decentralized system is actually a gas guzzler on Moonbeam. We're one of the top 10 contracts by usage and utility. We consume a lot of gas, on par with other DEXs and NFT projects. So yeah, so the answer to your question is yes, it's live. You can go to the block explorer for Moonbeam and look at the proof chain, and you can see these transactions where the proof of these block specimens are produced. Let's actually answer the next question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's about if ZK Sync is included, and would love to see if that is the chain that we can index.
So good news on that front. We've been speaking to ZK Sync for years now. Actually, they've been building. So Alex and team have been building for a very long time. And again, with all of these zero knowledge chains, they're not yet general purpose. And so now they have a generalized transpiler to run any EVM compatible smart contract on as a rollup. So that's pretty exciting. And I believe today only the testnet is live and it's slotted for indexing. So the mainnet is not live, so there's nothing for us to do. But the testnet will be indexed in the next couple of weeks.
Perfect. Do you want to answer the biggest challenge that we have for Covalent at this point?
Yeah, I'll just zip through all these questions. Okay, what is the biggest challenge at the moment? I think the biggest challenge at the moment is the clarity of roadmap. So, we rely on a lot of outside parties for building our roadmap. And when a lot of those teams outside are unclear about their future because of various reasons, then that affects our roadmap. Fortunately, we have a big cohort of solid, well-backed projects, and we're just doubling down on that ecosystem. So I think that's the biggest challenge, because you have to change the roadmap based on market conditions. Not for the network though. The network is a year-long roadmap. Nothing is going to change there. When will the paid API model start approximately? Yeah, we're just rolling this out. I would say Q3 is when we'll see some traction on that side. We're starting out with a very limited set. We're calling this the inner circle. So there's only going to be 5 wallet projects and 5 NFT projects. And our goal there is to be uncomfortably close and intimate with our customers, so that they have nowhere else to go but to share their gripes with us. So that's how we're rolling out that program. And if you want to get in on that list, please reach out to Harish.
Yeah, the last question is, I think, about the grants. Do you have any support or fund for developing projects who want to associate with Covalent API? They're building a user-friendly data analysis platform.
100%. So support can come in multiple ways, and funding is one aspect here. And what we can do is we can share our marketing channels, we can share product feedback, we can share fundraising feedback, we can share go-to-market strategies. How do you get customers? Who are the right customers? All the stuff that is required for getting a project 0 to 1. So definitely reach out to one of us, and we would love to help.
Awesome. That's it. Any final thoughts, Ganesh, before we close it for today? Okay, when can we see Ganesh in a mustache?
Maybe in India. I believe the guys here like Rohit and Harish, they have these big stashes, which but I do have I have a passport document that's a person of Indian origin. That's how I claim my entry into India. But it's a great question. Maybe I don't know, November. I don't know. Let's see. I don't think it looks good on me. So, anyways, good question though. Probably my favorite question. So final words. So continue building. Right. Nothing is going to change. We will continue shipping products. There's a lot of exciting thing on the new features shipping on the API side for Q3. We've had a chance to catch our breath. It's been wild the last 2 years, and thank you for participation. Show up to the next community call, and we'll actually talk product. We'll talk actual specific product on what we're shipping on the API side and other things that we're doing. Thank you all. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.